help you with this challenge here. Now, this video is not really about making anything impressive or clever. It's about learning some clever little shortcuts, if you like, that are going to help your 2D sketching not only be more accurate, but actually quicker, more reliable. And it's also helping you with something that you don't know yet, which is later on when you're working with more complex parts and you decide halfway through a model that you want to change the design of it or update it or change the size of a hole or whatever it may be. If you do things the wrong way, your life can be really painful when you need to go and make those changes. And if you follow the right way of doing things, which is what I'm going to show you with all these dimension and constraint tricks, when you come back and need to modify a product, like you will have to if you're iterating, it will make your life so much better. I promise you, because you'll understand why drawings are doing what they do and why they're not doing what they do, and why when you tell a hole to be twice the size, it suddenly goes shooting off over to the left of the screen with no explanation. It's all to do with these things called constraints and relationships, which is what we're going to learn about. So your challenge is going to be to draw that thing on the screen there in the OneNote. However, you need to pay attention to the written explanations, because they all mean something. So for instance, I've got here down at the bottom dimension A, and then I've got like another dimension between the middle of that circle and here, and it says this dimension should be half the size of A. And you'll see it's got this little FX50. We'll talk about that as I explain it, but it means a function of. You can actually make dimensions based on other ones. We're also going to learn about some of the symbols and other relationships you can do, like forming right angles, lining circles up on center and things like that. So anyway, go load Solidworks, follow my little tutorial that I'm doing now just so you're happy with the method, and then apply it to that picture I just showed you. So you just need a new part to do this. And as always, check that it says mmgs in the bottom right corner. If it doesn't, click the arrow and change it to mmgs. So that means millimeters, meters, grams, and seconds, which is basic units that we work in. Okay, so we got this. We're going to start with a sketch. So I'm just going to pick any work plane, maybe the top, and I'm going to click this little icon or right click on it, whatever you want, but click the icon, that will make a sketch. So we've now got all our sketch tools. There we go. Sorry, I should be looking at the top plane. Okay. First thing I'm going to show you is just some tricks with lines. So I'm going to get a line and just draw a line. Okay, that's fine. And I'm just going to deliberately draw it at an angle. Right, and press escape. Now, first thing you can do with a line is you can actually lock it to the X or the Y axis. If you right click on it, sorry, I didn't do that quite right. There we go. You'll see on the left you get these, or actually you just need to select the line. There we go. You've got horizontal, vertical, or fix. Horizontal will lock that line horizontally, and you'll see it goes pink, and you've got this little line now. That means that line can never ever move from being horizontal. That's useful later because it won't come out of position or change. If you want to delete one of these relations, as they're called, you just click the little square and hit delete on your keyboard. And now, for instance, if I pick my line, I could choose vertical. There we go, we've got a vertical line. Equally, if I didn't want it there, but I did know for some obscure reason my line had to always stay at that particular angle, I could just click it and tick fix. And that will fix everything about that line in its position, okay? I can change the length of it, but I can't change its angle, right? So it's fixed its particular angle. Anyway, so that's quite useful. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just drag that line over there. I've deleted the fix note, so make sure you deleted anything that's on it. And I'm going to get another line over here. And I'm just going to draw it sort of there. Okay. And click escape when you're done. Right. I now might have a situation where I need to join two lines together because I forgot to do it or didn't quite click. If you click the end of one line and hold down Control and click the end of the other, you'll see this little kind of window appears with options. So again, we've got horizontal, vertical, but we've got make coincident. Now what that does, if you click it, is it takes the two selections you had and makes them coincident on each other. So if you pick the blob on the end and the blob on the end of another, it will join blobs together. I'm just going to do Control Z and undo that. You get a different effect if you pick, sorry, let's say this, the blob on the end, hold Control and pick the whole line itself. If you now choose coincident, and sometimes it appears as a short menu, sometimes it appears over here on the left. If you click coincident now, can you see what it's done? It's joined it to the line. It seems to not matter where. Oh yeah, it sort of picked the middle of the line, and as you can see, that might be quite useful in some situations where you want to keep one line joined to the center of another. Okay, right. I'm going to delete those. Going to try another trick. So I'm just going to draw 2 lines now, just roughly, and I kind of wanted them to be at 90 degrees perpendicular, but they're not quite perpendicular. Now, you can do this as you draw. If you're very careful, you'll see if you hover the mouse, it kind of snaps to the vertical and then it snaps to the horizontal. But sometimes you'll draw a line thinking you've done it at perpendicular and it doesn't stay that way. Notice something else, sorry, backtracking. See when I drew those to the kind of presumed grid, it's put the constraints in automatically, locked it vertically, locked it horizontally. That's useful for shortcuts, but sometimes it's frustrating if you then want to change that line's angle. You have to remember to come and delete those constraints. Okay. Anyway, back to these 2. I wanted to make them perpendicular, so it's dead easy. Select one, hold down Shift or Control and select the other, and then look at your list of options. There we go. We got perpendicular, and what that will do is now make the 2 lines perpendicular to each other. What you'll notice is they're not perpendicular to the origin of the drawing. That's easy. We can just pick this guy, and if we choose horizontal, there we go. So I've made that one horizontal to the drawing, these 2 perpendicular. They will always stay, and because they've got that little perpendicular symbol, if I drag that corner, all right, I can make it taller, longer, wider, but they will always stay perpendicular. That's really, really handy. Okay. All of those other tools, there are loads of them, but I'm just going to show you a few more that might come in useful. If you got 2 lines like that and they needed to be parallel, it's the same method. Click and click, and you'll see we've got parallel. There we go. You can do collinear, which is quite useful. So say I had another line over here like that, and I wanted it to be in line with that line. I can click, hold down Shift and click and choose collinear, and you see what that's done is put them co-line on the same line, collinear. Really, really useful. I'm not sure what equal does. I haven't used it. Let's try it. Hold down both. Sorry, hold Shift, click the other, and choose equal. I think that's made them equal length, which is a trick even I didn't know until this second. So that could be very useful in certain situations. If you're trying to make a square equal on all sides, for instance. And of course, we've got fix, and we've covered all of those. Right, final one. You get different options if you start using different shape tools. We've only been using lines for now. If I use a circle and draw it, circles have their own tools within them. So for instance, if I drew another circle over here, if I select 2 circles, you'll see my options have changed. Concentric will put them on the same axis, so the center dots will line up. Tangent will join them so that the outer edge of one circle joins to the outer of another. And then I'm not sure what some of the others do. I imagine equal makes them the equal size. So I'm going to try concentric, and you'll see what that's done. It's made the big one jump to the same axis as the little one. That's really useful if you're trying to, like, I don't know, find the center of a wheel and keep it there. You can also do tangent. So I'm going to do a circle on the outside, and I'm going to do a circle on the inside, and I'm going to show you the tangent tools. So if I'm on the inside and select 2 and choose tangent, what it's done is it's reduced the size of the bigger one down to that one. If I do that one and tangent, I think it drags the second one you click to meet the first. I'm not entirely sure. Oh no, it didn't, not this time. It dragged the first one I clicked to meet the second. But anyway, you can play around with this, okay? But what's really cool now is they are linked. Look, that circle will always remain on the outside edge of this. And you can still change its size and things, but it has a relationship. That's what these little green guys mean, okay? You can also do tangents with lines as well. So say you needed to do something like this. Maybe you've got a box, just drawing a box, and you want the circle to be stuck to the edge of the box, you can pick one edge of the square, hold Control, pick the circle, and choose a tangent as well. There we go. And now that circle is bound to that edge of the box. You can see it. All right, really, really useful. So play around with all the constraint tools. Sometimes you want to get rid of them because they're annoying. All right, and if they're not showing, if you can't see the constraints, you can right click and you've got display delete relations. Okay, so if you click display, they're all the ones there. You can, if you want to, you can just sort of select them individually, look, and it highlights them, or you can click delete all, and you can be pretty certain what that will do. It will get rid of every single constraint on the drawing, and obviously all those relationships will no longer apply. So you can now move things out of the way and do what you want. Sorry. Oh, I need to click the tick over here. Sorry to say I'm done with that tool. Right. But you can see now all the relationships have been broken. Very powerful tool that, but obviously only break the relationships if you know you need to. Right, final few things I'm going to show you is just relationships with dimensions. Okay, you've probably all used the dimension tool, Smart Dimension, and you'll be familiar that you can kind of click and drag and put a dimension, and it will force it to be that size. So if I type 30, it's forced that rectangle to be 30. What you might not be aware of is that you can base other dimensions off them. So I can click here, put another dimension, and rather than having to type 30, I can put equals on the keyboard and then click, try that again, equals, and then click another dimension. What it will do, it's now saying equals to dimension 1 on sketch 1. Click the tick. Those two are now bound. All right, now I don't know why this has suddenly gone non-perpendicular. I think it's because I took off all constraints. So that's a good excuse actually. Let's make them perpendicular again. Select them both and choose perpendicular. And now my whole square's gone. So I'm going to put that one, I'm going to put horizontal, and then it's actually a good exercise this, that and that. I want to make parallel, and I want to make that, hold shift, and that parallel. There you go, you can see we tidied up my drawing, okay? And I don't need that anymore, fantastic. If you get a red one of those symbols, by the way, it means it's broken or it can't figure it out, so just delete it basically. So that's great, so this is based on this. So now if I decide I want my square bigger, let's go 45. Okay, sometimes you might have to hit the traffic light over there for it to update depending on your computer, but you'll see that that has now changed its size, and so has the other dimension. Okay, I'm just going to delete these to make the drawing a bit clearer. Sorry. Right, but it goes beyond that. You can actually do maths with it, which is really, really clever. So I'm going to go back and edit this one. I want to make this one equal to that dimension divided, actually times by, so asterisk times by 2. Hit enter. Okay, hit the tick. Now they are bound with a mathematical relationship. So if I always wanted to keep my model in proportion, this side will always be twice that side. Really, really handy. Okay, maybe I want another little square on here, like that. So I'm going to draw it. Okay, and maybe I want this square to be the same as that one divided by 2. So I'm going to go, right, Smart Dimension, I want that one equal to this dimension, divide, which is a / by 2. Fantastic. Click the tick. And I also want that one, that dimension, sorry, my computer's very slow, equal to this one. Okay. That is really, really powerful. So now what I've got, I know it's just a boring L shape, but I've got a boring L shape that will always hold its parameters and its proportions, no matter how big or small you make it. And most importantly, all we need to do is change one dimension. So if I take this down to 20 and hit the tick, might take a while, you'll see it's maintained the same proportions, and I only had to change one dimension. And that's what I'm talking about. This becomes really, really powerful, because imagine you had finished this, turned it into a feature and extruded it, say taking it into the 3rd dimension. All right, so we click the bits we want. Okay, so we've made our part, and we decide, oh, do you know what, actually this bit could do with 5mm longer, but I need the rest of it to grow in compensation, we can go back into our sketch, back here, we can edit our sketch, change that dimension, right, I just needed another 5mm, 25, click the tick, these guys all update, click here to return to 3D mode, and everything in that drawing has updated in proportion to just changing one dimension. That becomes really, really, really powerful. Okay, so I don't want to make this video too long. There are loads of other little methods you can do. You can do addition and subtraction in the dimensions. You can, like I said, do division and multiplication. You can do like it's equal to that one minus that one, add that one. So you can actually do the maths to help you position geometry. It will make more sense when you try it. You've got the relationships to keep things parallel, tangent, concentric, perpendicular, equal, all of those things. Please play around with them. All those little icons down the left that you tend to just ignore when you're playing with Solidworks for the first time, they're there for a reason. They're actually there to save you time and make your life easier. So please have a go with that and see if you can see how they might have been used here. If you want to try it on your own, stop the video now. If you want some further tips, I'll give you some. So, further tips, obviously you can use the equals for this one. So this one would be equal to that dimension divided by 2. You might want to use a perpendicular relationship here. You probably want to use a concentric relationship here to keep the circles on half. To do an angle, we haven't done that, but if you just use the dimension tool and click 2 lines that are already joined at an angle and move out, it will give you the angle display. This one is 1/4 of dimension A, so all we do on here is we click equals, click on dimension A, and then divide by 4. Yeah, I think you can work the rest out yourself. All right, but anyway, good luck.